Oh, MatPat, you naive young man. I have just watched your video about you talking about how good YouTube really is and how you and your creators, or your creators and yourself, I should say, have done so much good stuff, raising money for charity, making people aware of certain issues, influencing behaviors to actually get people to contribute more to these causes and issues and, spread positivity and perhaps inspire others to do the same on YouTube or whatever platform happens to be where we can video share our thoughts, feelings, ideas, creativity when you've gone, or even here right now. Who knows? And I have to say, MatPat, on a serious note, I thought it was a lovely, lovely video, and I really do believe that you are a very good person and a top tier YouTuber. Okay, I make no mistake about that. Yes, Google label you as a mid-tier influencer, but believe you me, and I know many of your fans will agree, you are not. You are definitely top tier stuff. The only reason why I'm responding to this in the way that I'm doing now is simply because when I was watching it, I kind of felt, as I said at the beginning, that you were being very naive in that you seemed surprised, and maybe you were or maybe you weren't, I don't know, that the media, and I mean mainstream media, newspapers, internet websites, TV, etc., movies, music, whatever, that sort of industry, the mainstream industry of media, label YouTubers as bad people and then take extreme examples, of which you correctly stipulated was a fraction of what YouTube's really all about, plastered it on some article on Wall Street Journal or whatever newspaper or website thing they have, and it completely destroys the credibility of YouTube. Advertisers start pulling out, and then YouTube's forced to overreact, as you said, and make changes, and then it cripples the creators such as yourself, and myself to a degree, from, making a living, or continuing our good work, or doing both at the same time, and ultimately be creative. And I just don't understand. Of course, that's what they're going to do. I'm sure you are aware of it, but you just came across as someone who just thinks, what? Why is this happening? This seems so silly. Why are they doing this? Even though they themselves are built on lies and corruption and just as seedy things as they've highlighted out on YouTube with the certain creators. In other words, hypocrites. Well, the simple truth is, Matt, is that you are a threat to them. You are a threat. Whether you see yourself as that or not, well, it's up to you. But the fact of the matter is, you are a threat to them. You are a threat to their grip on the people who watch or read or listen to their publicity, their take on the world, their media, their products, so to speak. You are a threat to their power, their influence, and ultimately, their money. Of course they're going to slander you. That's what they do. And the reason why they're so good at it is because they've been around for decades, centuries, however long they've been around for. Much longer than YouTube. They know all the tricks. They know all of the ways to take someone or something down so easily. And it's not completely their fault, or not completely their own doing. It's society. Society will follow and agree instinctively, for the most part, what the media is telling them. Because, for decades and centuries, that's what we've done as a society. When you want to know about what's going on in the world and what's happening, you consult the media. Either it's word of mouth, newspaper, a news report on television, radio, movies, music, artists, hell, even video games to a degree. That's where they go to get their source of information. Nowadays, more and more people, especially young people, as you mentioned, are going on to social media to get their news about what's going on in the rest of the world. And that's an even bigger threat to the media people, because they're not the main source of news anymore for the next generation of people coming up, or the next few generations. They're still important, they'll still be there, but they're slowly becoming less and less relevant. And as you said, one of the main reasons behind it is because they're very watered down, they're very censored, they're very polished, and they have to say the things that they say in the way that they do them, simply because either that's what they want to do, or they're told to do that, or whatever's. They're just so fake now. Not in terms of fake news, but in terms of the way they present things, the way they deliver things. It's so fake and so staged and so unbelievable and stiff that people are drifting away from it. They'd rather go to you for news, such as myself when you did this video about how YouTube channels are doing so much good. I'd rather believe it from you because you appear to be more trustworthy, more honest, a nicer person, relatable, and you're doing your good work. But the media doesn't do that anymore. But it's so much easier to slander and destroy YouTube than to change their ways. And cheaper and more effective. The media have done it for so long, and it's ingrained in all of us. At least ingrained in my generation to a degree, and the generations above me. There's still a lot of us about, by the way. So that's our first point of call. And when you mentioned that gaming and YouTube gamers, you mentioned that Google have now got a team for the top tier people and a separate team for gaming, and the gaming is considered, secondary or thirdly or bottomly, and it's, evils in a way to a degree. Gaming has been derided and degraded for decades. Well, at least the last few decades, since video gaming became mainstream. Lots of people were afraid of gamers. Lots of people see gaming as a waste of time, see them as creepy, weird people who are really sinister. It's that influence, that perception of gamers has been around since, I don't know, the Atari. I'm going to go as far as to say. And that will never change. That will never change until the older generations phase out and die out, and the newer generations who grew up with gaming start to get into the positions of power. Because they will, because nobody lives forever. So the point I'm trying to make here on this particular train of thought is that a lot of things are against YouTube at the moment, and a lot of things are against them on purpose. And they're doing it because YouTube's a threat. You're a threat. Now, you did argue as well, hang on a minute. Why are advertisers who are making things worse, why are advertisers pulling their revenue, their advertisements away from all of the videos that show their advertisements when it's not YouTube's fault, it's not your fault, it's just the people who buy the advertising space on YouTube, if that's how it works, which I'm sure it does, as you said, are doing a bad job making sure the adverts go on the correct videos in the first place. It's their fault, not YouTube. Why is it that they're pulling out when really, as you said, billions upon billions of people are on YouTube or on social media, on Twitch and all that, watching stuff? That's where the market is. That's where the people is. That's where advertisers have to go now if they want to get the biggest market share possible to get people to buy their products. Well, of course they're going to. The reason why they're going to is because they are told what to do. They are told what to do by the people in power. All this that you've talked about in your video is all about power. It really is. The media, movie, music, celebrities, mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, they have so much power. That's all we ever want in life. Everybody wants power. Everybody wants to be in a position where you have power to dictate what happens, be it through actions or controlling people, being an influencer. You want to be in a position of power, and once you've got that position, you don't want to lose it, because power corrupts. And it corrupts everyone. Some more so than others, but power corrupts. And when it corrupts, you're going to do everything in your power to keep it that way. And that's what the main celebrities and media are doing. They've got power. They exert so much influence on people from decades and centuries of the same old thing that it's become ingrained to us that they can. And they will. And the problem is if you think about it, advertisers, you think, well, logic dictates they should stick with YouTube because that's where all the viewers are, and they can still advertise on the media. Of course they can, but they won't prioritize them because of social media. But all the media has to do is just go, well, let's say Apple, for example, just an example, mind you, have decided to pull their adverts from YouTube. And then they decide after a while, actually, we've pulled our advert from YouTube's in protest, as the media have pointed out this and that. These bloggers, these creators have got some sinister motives that we don't like, and we don't want our adverts to be prioritized. So actually, we need to put our adverts back on there because it's now costing us lost potential money, potential revenue, potential power. We're going to put them back on. Screw what the media says. Yes, MatPat is right. I have watched MatPat's video about how creators do good things. Actually, yes. No, I want to be a part of that. No, why are we pulling adverts back? Let's get them back on and let's do a thorough job of it. All the media has to do is just come knocking on their door and go, yeah, well, you know that time when you screwed over millions of customers with your Apple fix, where you said to them that there was a problem with one of your Apple phones and that it was a proper problem and that you tried to hide it, but then compromise when we put pressure on you to offer them a free fix to get it fixed. But then it turns out actually, for most of them, you weren't. You were charging them up to $200 per fix. Well, what if we were just to slip that back into the net again with our media thing? Do you think that? Do you think people would want to be reminded of that because they've conveniently forgotten about it? Because we always forget stuff. We always live in the moment. News only lasts for a few days, if that, maybe a few weeks tops, before people get bored of it. Would you want us to put that back in the media? Just do a little article on that again? Because, you know, I'm sure there's some things that we know that you don't think we do know could sabotage you in the short term. What are you going to do as Apple? Even if they don't have it, what are you going to do? Are you going to ignore that threat? No, of course you're not. You're going to keep your adverts pulled because the media still have that power to cripple them next. And the reason why they're crippling them next is because they just want the advertising revenue for themselves. They want the money. They want the power. And they know how to have it. And that's it. It's as simple as that. The point of the matter is that, to close this video off, is MatPat, I love what you do. And I believe everything you said in your video to a degree. Some bits I'm a little bit skeptical of, but that's with every video. Of course, you'll be skeptical of mine. And I haven't got data to prove what I'm saying is true. The only data I can say is that I do believe YouTube has billions of viewers because, as you highlighted out, there are, well, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe more, of gaming channels that are now getting more and more and more influence. They're starting to get more and more traction. Yes, they may have various amounts of subscribers and, you know, top tiers, Markiplier, yourself, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie and all that. Then you got your mid-tiers, I don't know who they are, and then you got the scragglers at the, you know, underneath, and then you got tiny little me who's like a, not even a photon, what would be one of the smallest particles out there? W boson, let's say. Big. No, not big. No, not double boson. Double boson's quite big. Whatever. One of those particles that only exist for a fraction of a second to exchange force and energy between particles. That's what I am. I'm fine with that. We make up all the rest. You know, we're still able to influence and tell people through our channels what we think, what we say, what we do, through our art, through our creation, raise money for charity or raise money for good causes or spread the good word or get people thinking about things that may be better for them. We're still doing that, and we're always going to do that. But the media aren't going to like it because they want to spread their agenda, whatever it is. And I'm not saying here that the media have an agenda, a political agenda, or they're conspiracists or anything. No, they just want to keep hold of their power. They just want to keep hold of their relevance. You can't stop that, MatPat. They will constantly go after you, and they will constantly find new ways to cripple you. And instead of getting all upset and letting your ego get to the better of you, and don't get me wrong, of course you can get upset. I have an ego, you have an ego. Of course you can. When it gets triggered off, yes, you want to react and like I'm doing now in a way. Of course you do. And you've got every right to do that. Sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes, you know, it makes you feel better and you can get some things done. But a lot of the times, because it's done on the fly, you can sometimes set yourselves up to fail or actually impede your progress or come across as something that you weren't. Even though the old saying is bad publicity is good publicity, it's not, as I know. But what I'm saying is that don't let them get to you. Don't let them get to you. Let them be hypocrites. Let them do what they do. Let them go after you. Let them threaten YouTube, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you are at war with them, whether you like it or not. And if you want to win at this war, then there's only one thing you can do. And that's just carry on. Just carry on being yourself, buddy. Just carry on doing the work you want to do. And don't let anyone dictate you otherwise. And when obstacles happen, you do your best to work around them or get through them. Just keep going. Because even if Google labeled you a mid-tier influencer, as you said, you're not, buddy. You are, in my opinion, one of the top, if not the top, influencer on the internet. Along with PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and loads of other channels that I'm not aware of that are on the same status, you are in the top tier, buddy, and you always will be. All that hard work you've done behind the scenes for your channel, outside of your channel, to help others, it's not going to be forgotten, buddy. You are the creme de la creme, and you know that. And the reason why you know that is because Google have labelled you a mid-tier influencer, because Google have to do as they're told. So if they're labelling you bad things, if the media are labelling you as a gamer who's evil and a pervert and a paedophile, even though they themselves are based on that, and advertisers are fleeing to them. If they're doing all that, that means you are the best. That's your evidence. That's your proof. Along with all of your fans and all of your creators and your peers and your family and all those people that you've influenced, they also are your evidence to say that you are there. You are a godfather. Think of yourself as the godfather. Because I think that's what you are. From all the work you've done on consulting, from all the work that you've done behind the scenes to influence people, to help people to do data, you are a godfather. If somebody needs help in whatever shape or form for their YouTube career or whatever's, they'll come to you. And you sit there in your chair, in your tuxedo, on your daughter's wedding day, son's wedding day, because you've got Ollie as your kid, and you listen. And you do them a favour. For a fee or whatever, or a favour in exchange. That's who you are. You are the godfather, MatPat. Take that, put that on your jacket or whatever, and go and have a good day. I hope your family are well. Keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Let them rot. There's that old saying, isn't there, that I will close off on that I forgot. I forget if it was Mahatma Gandhi or not. First, they ignore you. Then they shout at you. Then they fight you. And then you win. Something along those lines, as a paraphrase. Do nothing, carry on, don't let them influence you, and you will win. And when I say win, I don't mean just beat the media companies in their games, but you will win by leaving your legacy and your influence on the rest of the world. Because you know that you are perpetuating the next generation of YouTubers to come along. But also, as a bit of a grim reminder, nothing lasts forever. So do your bit, buddy. Have a good one. Take it easy. And I'll see everyone else in the next video. Until then, bye for now.